This weather pattern is very unusual as we have severe weather across the southeast with some heavier rainfall, snow to the north, and we also have a quieter weather pattern shaping up for the United States going towards the middle of April. But will it last? Will severe weather come back? Will heavy rain come back? We'll answer your questions later on in the video. So make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, share this video with friends, family, and on social media, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel for the latest accurate and reliable weather information that you can get out your door with my weather forecasts. And before we get into the video, let's talk about my merch store. Yes, my merch store is up and running. We have notebooks, we have t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, we have coffee mugs, 2 different styles, and tumbler cups, and much more. We're going to be adding a ton of products here over the next several days. You want to go check that out? Some of the items are down below the video. Just click on those and you can explore on that page there, or I will have the link in the description down below the video. You guys can go check that out after the video. So definitely appreciate that. So let's get into the weather forecast. We are talking about severe weather, yes, across the southeast as we go through your Monday. We actually do have a slight risk extending up into the Carolinas, including North Carolina here, all the way back through southern Georgia and northern Florida. Now, the main risk hazards for today will be some gusty straight line winds, 60 plus miles per hour, especially where you see this yellow shaded color. Some of the cities impacted here could be Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Savannah, up there towards Columbia, and also Charleston, South Carolina, Wilmington, and the Raleigh area. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on you for some gusty winds with some of these storms. There is still a formidable tornado chance, all right? So we do have a 2% chance of tornadoes in green, a 5% chance of tornadoes in brown, and that is the highest chance of tornadoes today in brown, from South Carolina into parts of southern Georgia and into northwest Florida, including the Big Bend area there. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the potential for a few tornadoes. Now, the hail threat today is less than 5%. The reason being the instability values aren't as high. Typically, when you need hail, you have instability much higher than what we see today, and we're going to go through that. So let's look here first at your moisture. This is what you feel as you go outdoors. A little muggy here across the Carolinas, Georgia, and North Florida. Dew points are in the 60s here this Monday afternoon, and they will remain that way as we go through the afternoon until the cold front comes through. And notice all the dry air coming in from the north will crash those dew points down literally 24 hours later tomorrow into the 40s across this region, still hanging on to 70-degree dew points across South Florida. That could give us a severe weather chance tomorrow. Now, for today, we're going to be seeing some instability, the strongest across Georgia and North Florida, kind of around 1,500 joules per kilogram. That's enough storm energy to get some storms to rotate and potentially even produce some gustier winds out there to also help those storms rotate and kind of maintain their intensity and coverage here. Will be our low-level jet, okay? This is the 850 millibar low-level jet, and 850 millibars is a kilometer above the Earth's surface, and that is where we have these winds coming out of the south-southwest around 55 knots or so. So that is what could be giving us the tornado chance. Now, notice it's linear here, okay? So that means most of this is going to be a flash flooding threat, followed by some gusty winds, maybe some smaller hail, but you cannot rule out a couple of tornadoes as we just showed you with the tornado outlook. So here as we go into the afternoon, we're going to be watching that from North Carolina southbound into South Carolina, Georgia, and North Florida, and some of those storms will peak in intensity around mid to late afternoon. Once the sun goes down, the cold front will continue to meander further to the east into the coastal Carolinas and also into coastal Georgia and North Florida. Could have some storms getting down into Orlando and also the Tampa Bay area, so be keeping an eye on that after dark. But in general, the intensity of the storms after the sun sets will kind of wane a little bit here as we get deeper into the evening. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, those storms will make their way down into south central Florida along and south of the Tampa Bay area. So be keeping an eye on those areas, including Naples, Fort Myers, and down toward Miami, Daytona Beach, and Fort Lauderdale as we go into Tuesday morning. In fact, looking at Tuesday, April 8th, we do have a level 1 out of 5 in the dark green here. This is a marginal risk of severe weather. The Florida Keys down here into Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and we could be seeing a couple of water waterspouts there potentially on Tuesday. Now, this is going to cause some heavy rainfall across portions of Virginia, down into the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, especially northern Florida, as this right now, today, the cold front is really not having much propagation off the coast, which means it's not moving very quickly. So this could drop 1 to 2 inches worth of some rain, and then as it speeds up, moving down into central and southern Florida, we're not seeing as much rainfall down here, maybe 1/4 of an inch upwards to 3/4 of an inch of rain in those areas. So flash flooding will be a concern from southeast Virginia through the Carolinas, Georgia, and North Florida. Now, looking at the country wide, we are not really seeing any severe weather outside of the Florida Keys and very far southern Florida on Tuesday. Same deal on Wednesday. In fact, there's no severe weather chance here and barely any thunderstorm chances across the United States on Wednesday, midweek on April 9th. And it all has to do with our trough that's bringing some cooler air down north from Canada into the United States, the eastern U.S., and that continues to meander as we go here through the beginning of this week. And looking at our temperature anomalies waking up this morning, probably needed a heavier jacket as you headed off to work or school across the central and especially northern U.S. here this Monday morning. Our temperatures here, look at the upper Midwest. We started off in the teens this morning. Wind chills were in the single digits to near zero here across especially the Arrowhead of Minnesota. And our temperatures this afternoon will warm. We are going to see high temperatures arriving into the 30s and 40s across the Midwestern regions into the Great Lakes, much warmer to the south towards Oklahoma and Texas in the 60s. But it'll still be a raw day, kind of colder up here, some stronger winds, keeping our wind chills actually down into the teens and 20s for the upper Midwest. Kind of a chilly day. For the east, we're going to be seeing the temperatures that we did see this morning into the upper 20s to low 30s, kind of remain that way, maybe warming up a bit to the 40s there across the northeast, 50s across the lower Ohio Valley. We actually have a little bit of a snow squall coming in across Michigan, northern Indiana, northern Ohio that could bring our temperatures down near freezing in some of those areas. But you want the warmth? Well, you got it down here in the Sunshine State. Southeast Florida, yeah, the east coast of Florida there, mid 80s to near 90 degrees this Monday afternoon. That is for sure. Now out west, starting off a little chilly this morning, but with the ridge out west, look at the 70s going all the way up into southern Alberta and southwest Saskatchewan and even into Montana. So we're seeing some warmer air here on the eastern side of the Rockies. And then we see the warmest air down here near Death Valley into the low 90s, even mid 80s toward Phoenix. So that's what we see for this Monday afternoon. This cooler air will stick around the east as we go through the remainder of this week. Notice it kind of meanders as we go into Tuesday. Here's Wednesday. We go into Thursday, starts to moderate a little bit. And then as we go into Friday, we start to see a little bit of some warmer air pushing toward the plains in the upper Midwest, but the cooler air really kind of hanging out across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast as we go to end the week here on Friday, April 11th. Now, we are going to be keeping tabs on the snowfall further to the north. It is cold enough, yes, for some snow. So when it's cold enough for any precipitation moving over these areas, snow is going to be the precipitation type. And notice we got these lake effect snow bands or snow squalls, as we call them, and some gustier winds with them too. So this could knock down our visibility across parts of the Great Lakes like Michigan there, northern Indiana, northern Ohio for a time this afternoon and evening. And then that snowfall really continuing to push east into the northeast, especially New York State, upstate New York, that would be into Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of Massachusetts there, and Maine. And then our friends to the north in southern Ontario and southern Quebec could be getting their fair share of some heavier snowfall rates. And that takes us all the way to Wednesday morning. So this will be a long duration, lighter snow event. Could be giving us a plowable snow for places like Maine. Could be seeing 6 to 10 inches worth of snow there in north central Maine. More on a 1 to 3 inch basis across portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York. Maybe as far south as central New York there. More of a dusting further to the south along the Appalachians. Now, we are going to be seeing an active weather pattern continuing later this week, but in the absence of severe weather, I think this is going to be more of a lighter rain system and a soaking rain for areas that honestly really do need it. Here you can see across the mid-Atlantic, we may need some areas over here with rain as we go into Thursday. Friday, we got a soaking rain as a coastal low moves up here off the coast, and typically in January, this would bring us heavy snow, right? Across portions of Pennsylvania, New York State, and parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, those areas, but it's not January, it's April. So we see colder air. Yes, we have the higher elevations here getting some snow, but it's going to be a soaking rain across the Northeast for the weekend, and a coastal low, a kind of a secondary low comes in. Further to the north, up here in towards Ontario and Manitoba, could be seeing a heavier snow band as we go into Sunday. That would be something to watch for those areas. But as far as rainfall is concerned, it doesn't look like a lot of rain really across the west or the central U.S. It's more the eastern U.S., especially up here into the Northeast, could be picking up 1 to 3 inches of liquid precipitation, especially the I-95 corridor. Boston, Hartford, down to New York City, Trenton, all the way to Philly and Baltimore, going to be seeing some pretty heavy rainfall here for the upcoming weekend. A nice weekend to stay indoors. Here's the snowfall. Notice we did talk about Manitoba into western Ontario. That snow system could drop a few inches of plowable snow there going into the weekend. For the Northeast, it's really the higher elevations, could be seeing upwards to 6 inches here into parts of the higher elevations in New York State, for example, Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine, maybe western Massachusetts, north and west of the I-95 corridor. Now, heading into next week here, towards the middle of April, we're going to see a ridge establish across the south central and western U.S., and this will establish some warmer air. Now, with the northwest flow, we got another trough coming in across portions of the Hudson Bay and the upper Great Lakes region as we go into next week. And this will keep our temperatures a little bit more in check with cooler air across the Great Lakes and the Northeast, where warmer air really going to infiltrate the west and the south as we go into next week. And we'll show you that here. We could be taking a run at the 60s and 70s for a time early next week on Monday, April 14th for the Midwest. But I think a cool period with that trough will be coming in later in that week, kind of knocking our temperatures more down into the 50s and 60s, and then seeing the warmest of air across the Rockies and then across the south central U.S. as we go through at least the 18th or 19th there of April. Now, we are keeping tabs as well on a signal in the ensemble guidance for a couple of storm systems, the first of which would be coming Monday into Tuesday or so, 14th, 15th, and or 16th of April. This is mainly going to be a quick hitting cold front, maybe some severe weather with that. We'll have to keep an eye on that. A bigger, more significant moisture-laden storm system is ticketed for the southern central plains and here into the mid-south and southeast as we go towards the 19th, 20th, and 21st of April. And that is something we're definitely going to keep an eye on because that could bring us the potential for some severe weather to the plains. Notice above average precipitation is forecast currently for that week between the 14th and the 20th of April for Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, and quite frankly, areas that don't need the rainfall in Arkansas at all. So be keeping an eye on that. And we are keeping tabs on the severe weather forecast. The NIU accumulated supercell composite parameter maps are showing Kansas, Oklahoma, but especially the Lone Star State of Texas here having the potential for some severe weather as we go into that 14th through the 20th time frame, and that could include the potential for more damaging winds, large hail, tornadoes, and who knows, maybe even some flash flooding during that time. We'll keep you updated on that. Again, go check out my merch store. The products are down below here in the video. The link to the link will be in the description of the video for my merch store. It's really right now it's Weather on the Go collection merch. We're going to be adding seasonal and holiday stuff as well for Easter and 4th of July and all the holidays coming up as well. We're going to have limited edition stuff too and some sales on things as well throughout the year. So make sure to go check that out. Definitely appreciate it. Also subscribe here to my channel for the latest accurate and reliable weather information on YouTube. Best way to also help out is liking the video and sharing this video with friends, family, and on social media. That's all the weather talk I got for you today, folks. Thank you for watching and have a blessed rest of your Monday out there.